Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Wednesday edition of Shields and Arrows, where we defend the faith, the family, the fellowship. I am Pastor Mark Baze. And a big thank you to my brother and sister-in-law for the new dress shirt they got me for Christmas that I'm wearing right now. And today I thought about exploring some deep matters of theology, and I'm going to leave it up to you. If there's some area of theology you want me to explore today, then by all means comment and let me know. I thought since yesterday I spent pretty much, over an hour talking about Acts chapter 15, I thought, you know what, how about we do a little bit of reflection on Donald Trump's first full year back in office, and I'm going to give him a grade. And, I think it's going to be interesting because those of you that are Trump critics are not going to be happy with me because I'm going to give him a grade that is too high, at least in your opinion. And those of you that are MAGA train baby all the way, I'm also not going to make you happy because I'm probably not going to give him as high of a grade as you want. So as with a number of scenarios, I'm going to please none of you, so I'm sorry. But I'm going to give you my thoughts on the matter, and I will give him his grade for today. Now, tomorrow is New Year's Day, and while it doesn't bother me to work on New Year's Day, I will not be going live on New Year's Day because I will be with my family. We're going to be having a good time together, and so that's why we won't be going live on Thursday. Friday we will be going live and probably do some Friday Q&A, so if you want to have a question answered. Sunday we will be back to the normal routine. Sunday morning we will have a sermon on, once again, manipulation of leaders within cults and Christianity, part 3. And then we will be back in Hosea to kick the year off. And we won't be having anything Sunday night business meeting. And then Wednesday night, we will be back to studying Abraham. All right, so we'll be full grind right back into the thick of things, okay? And let's see here. Is there any other major announcements I need to give you? I don't think so. If you are wanting to attend the Bible conference that we're going to be having March 27th through the 29th, reach out to me if you have questions. I do know that last Bible conference we had some people who are willing to, let you stay at their house. And that's just kind of a case-by-case basis. You just got to talk to them. You got to speak to them and see if they're okay with it. But if you are not interested in staying in a hotel and you are looking for another alternative, let me know. The earlier that you can reach out to me about it, the better. Okay, and so really hoping that you can come and join us. Either way, we'll be doing it. We'll be doing it live online as well, so you can watch that. And good morning, everyone. Apparently, it is cold, and that is all y'all are talking about. Cold in Florida is what I'm hearing. It's decently cold here in Oklahoma. We went for a while with some warm weather. Christmas was hot, and actually mean hot in Oklahoma. But now we're back to winter weather. And enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into the grading. Now, I'm grading on 10 things, all right, when it comes to Trump. There's a number of other areas. You could probably break these down in a smaller number. We're going to be grading on immigration, enforcing border laws. We're going to be grading him. We're using an A, B, C, D, F scale. Also, I'm including minuses, plus or minus. Toughness on international stage. I think that, normally you could just call it, foreign affairs, foreign policy. But I think that I wanted to name it that because the Biden administration made America look so weak on the foreign stage, the international stage, that I wanted to include it as a category. So that's number 2. The economy, spending, government spending, the military, gun rights, public perception. Right? How has Trump done with, hey, what does the public think of him? Because even though that is purely subjective and the people are fickle, public perception does play a role in getting reelected, assuming that, Dominion voting machines are not doing funny shenanigans, as they are and apparently were in Georgia, as we all knew in 2020. I can say that on YouTube, right? If I get kicked off, go over to markbaseministries.org. We're going live there. Abortion. Decreasing size of federal government, And protecting American identity. I thought that was an important one. So I'm grading on 10 things. There's probably other areas and ways you could talk about, appointing cabinet members, which we're going to get into that. That's going to play a role in his overall grade. So those are the 10 things I'm worried about. Just off the top of my head, what is most important to me? Okay, what is most important to me? Some of my younger folks may say, well, America first, right? How good has Trump been on America first? And I think that while you could make America first a title or a category, I think that a lot of that will come out in how we grade some of this, okay? The America first position, or how America first is Donald Trump, I think will come out in the wash. That's my thoughts there, so all of those who are wondering. And so with that, let's go ahead and jump in here. Each category will receive a letter grade. It could be, A, A minus, B, B plus, B minus. And so that will all be averaged. And I did my own averaging system there, basically giving a number value to it to arrive at a overall grade, okay? And so I could give you the overall grade, but I'm going to make you wait. All right, I'm going to go category by category and leaving you in suspense. All right, and I will elaborate a little bit on each one. Okay, so you're going to have to wait till the end, and the show may last only 30 minutes. And if you want the show to last longer, then feel free to interject your thoughts, your opinions, or some theological matter to discuss. All right, so first of all, Trump's immigration and enforcing border laws, okay? I'm giving that a grade of A minus, immigration enforcing border laws. Tom Homan, the borders are, what is his official title? Forgive me, I can't recall. I've just been thinking of him as the borders are. Overseeing immigration customs enforcement. I think he's great. I think it is very obvious when you just open your eyes that there has been a shift in how many people are entering the United States. There's been a lot of companies, I've noticed, even local ones here in Oklahoma, who, let's just say they have a lot of employees, or they had a lot of employees who were not the best English speaking, and all of a sudden I'm noticing signs out front of these businesses and whatnot saying, hey, we're hiring workers, right? Welders and all sorts of different positions. And I think the numbers speak for themselves. The number of border crossings is down astronomically low. The number of deportations is way up over Biden. And so I give him a score, I give him a grade of an A minus. Now, some would say, hey, why not higher? Why not higher? Well, there are some things. I think that Trump has given some lip service to the idea of, hey, the farmers need the illegal, undocumented workers or whatever. So I don't like that language. I think we need to shut down all immigration entirely. If Trump shut down all immigration entirely into the United States, both legal and illegal, he gets an A plus, but he didn't do that. The matter of, hey, are we building a wall or are we not? Now, I know that some want to argue, well, if we don't pass a bill, why did the Republicans not pass the bill to build the wall? Once again, Republicans let us down over and over and over again. And vote them all out. Let's just start over, okay? Let's get every one of them out of there and try again. But why aren't we building the wall? Those that argue, well, if you don't pass a bill, then, the next administration can just tear it all down by executive order. And so what? What happens then? And so he doesn't get an A plus, doesn't get an A minus, all right? A minus. I think that is fair. Some of the Trump critics would probably say an A minus is too high, right? That he doesn't deserve an A minus. And then those who are, big Trump fans, they're like, why does he not get an A plus? I mean, my goodness, he's just doing an incredible job on the border. I'm trying to be fair and balanced. Fox News. Pfft. All right. Now, the next category, so we have an A minus on immigration, enforcing border laws. Toughness on international stage, right? How tough does America look? And I think that matters because Biden, or Jill Biden, whoever was in charge, Hunter, I don't know. it made us look very weak, okay? We were just being taken advantage of by countries. There was no respect. Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine under Biden's watch. I will remind everybody of that. Hamas carried out their attack on Israel under Biden's watch. And I know there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there, and hey, go ahead and conspiracy theory all day long, but I'm just pointing out the facts, right? When this happened, Biden was in office. And so anyways, we looked weak. I'm going to give him a grade of a B on toughness of on the international stage, a grade of a B. I think that his tariff war with China is fine. I don't care. All right. People say, oh my goodness, it's going to cost more. It's going to cost more. Okay. Anytime that you are willing to take a hard line, it's going to cost you something. We're way too reliant on China. We trust China to make everything for us. So all of the people like Ben Shapiro, I took really a big issue with him because he just thought it was horrible and terrible that Trump was having a tariff war and whatnot. And I think it's great. Okay, I think it's great. I have no problem with that. So being tough with China. Some of the other areas, Trump talked a big game. We're going to end the war in one day, 24 hours. The Russian-Ukraine war is going to end. And we're going to make a deal. And it didn't happen, right? So I'm being really critical of him there, okay? Some people would say, well, he's just using bombastic language, and that's what Trump does. Granted, that is true. But the Russian-Ukraine war is still ongoing. We haven't resolved it in a day. We haven't resolved it in a month, 6 months. We're, going on a year now, and I don't really see an end in sight yet. The Israel-Hamas war, is it over? Maybe, but is it? I don't know. I don't think it is entirely. So, America's just dominance, being able to just impose our will however we want. I wouldn't say it's an A+. If Trump could have gotten the Russian-Ukraine war done by now, which there's some who are saying, hey, America first, America only. Why are we involved in any of it? I get that sentiment, right? But just right now, we're a global empire, and that's how it works. So as far as toughness on the international stage, I do think we look tougher. We're going to get to the military here in a minute, which I do think is its own category. And so B for Trump on toughness on the international stage, okay? Much, much better than what has been done with under the Biden administration. So we've got an A-, we've got a B. Let's get to the economy. I had a hard time judging the economy here. You may not like this, especially those who are pro-Trump. Those who are not pro-Trump, you may not like it either because I'm picking a middle of the road. I'm giving him a C, okay? Now, some of you may say, what are you talking about? That's way, way, way too low. I think that there are some just statistics as far as inflation. Inflation is still high. I don't know that it's... it's not skyrocketing, I don't think, as it did under, Biden and so on. But immigration, immigration, I was writing it on my notes there. Inflation is an issue still. I'm giving him a C because primarily I think the economy is hard to grade after 1 year. And we're waiting to see how some of the tariff stuff plays out. So I'm giving him a C because there is some cushion, all right? When we do another review for Trump next year, around this time, that number could be way better. The economy could be up at a B, right? It could be an A. I don't know, right? It could be worse. So instead of using a grade that just greatly inflates his overall score or using a grade that greatly decreases and hurts his score, I'm just going to give it a middle-of-the-road C, okay? I don't know if we can really judge the economy right now. Some of you may have a different opinion. The economy is doing very well, and so Trump deserves a really high grade or what have you. I'm not really a great judge of the economy, and I don't feel... Every time when I hear a politician or some news person, political talking figurehead, what have you... One day, hey, the economy's doing good. This job report came back, it was really, really good. Or this report came back and it was really good. But then also, hey, here's these other issues and inflation, what have you. So I'm just going to give it a C. I think that's fair. If you think I'm wrong there and I need to give him a better grade on the economy, by all means, please let me know. Okay. So let's see here. Continuing on with our discussion on these matters. Spending, government spending. Government spending is a D minus. All right, I'm sorry. Okay, all of my Trumpers out there, all you MAGA folks, which I don't know. I mean, I voted for Trump, so I guess that makes me one of us. But I'm gonna hold him accountable here. Government spending's terrible. The one big beautiful bill, terrible. Way too much spending. It's the way the government works. So I'm not entirely holding Trump accountable for it. The buck stops with him, so he ultimately is responsible. But American government and spending is just so outrageous. Spending's terrible, the one big beautiful bill and so on. I'm giving him a D minus. Okay, D minus on spending. The only saving grace was there was some cuts, right, to Medicare, some extra qualifications you had to have, so getting rid of some spending on illegals there. D minus, okay? So we went A minus, B, C, D minus, and some of you are thinking, oh my goodness, right? He's being so harsh. Others of you are saying I'm being way too generous. Military, I'm going to give him an A, not even an A minus. I'm going to give him an A, not an A plus, but an a solid A. Pete Hegseth, I think, has been great. It seems like there's actually some enthusiasm in the military again. Hey, we're actually serious about fighting wars now. We want real tough, strong men fighting. We're not making commercials about some 115-pound girl and her two moms and how her moms gave her the courage to join the military and be all that she can be. No, we're done with that. We're done with the pandering. I think our military looks tough again. I think that that's reflected in the number of people joining the military. And when you get a bunch of white boys from the South to join the military, that just means your military is going to be better, okay? Just telling you like it is, all right? And so now that military recruitment's up, now that masculinity is brought back into the military, very, very good thing. So they get an A on that. Credit to Trump for appointing Pete Hegseth to be the Secretary of War. Secretary of War now, so very good. So that's military A. Gun rights. Gun rights is a D. Okay, not a D minus, but a D. Some of you may be saying, what? How can you say that? Isn't Trump the pro-Second Amendment president? Guys, there's been nothing done for gun rights. Nothing. Zero things been done for gun rights. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, is horrible. She has had many opportunities to take up cases that would help defend gun rights. She has done nothing to help with the repeal of the NFA, the National Firearms Act. She's done nothing to expand gun rights at all. She's horrible. She is terrible. She's a terrible appointment. Trump, I called it from the very beginning, and not just me, but many others were saying that's a horrible hire. And so gun rights, it's a D. The only reason it's not a D minus or an F is because there hasn't been any active bans in this administration. This second time around, Trump did allow the bump stock ban to take place in his first administration. So gun rights is a D. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to hold him... I believe because of the Second Amendment, we're able to defend the rest of the amendments. And so if you're not, in order for Trump to get a grade better than a D, he would have had to have done something this first year to actually expand gun rights. Because status quo is not good. There's way too many laws on guns right now. Get rid of the ban on machine guns, get rid of the NFA and the need to do paperwork for silencers and short-barreled rifles, get rid of the no gun signs in public buildings and things like that. It's all absurd. It's all ridiculous. And so cut it out. Cut it out. So gun rights, get a D. Sorry. Just how it is. And I may grade Trump more harshly on gun rights than even some of his critics. Okay, that's my position there. So A minus, B, C, D minus, A, D. Public perception. How has Trump done on his public perception? Because whether or not you like it, it does matter. That's a hard one. I may be wrong here. I may be wrong. C minus. Maybe I am too much... of someone who looks at the opposing side. But one of the issues is the Epstein files. The Epstein files were it was a huge debacle. People are mad about it. You have a right to be mad about it, just because, not so much the Epstein files themselves, even though the crimes committed by Epstein were horrendous, but the principle behind it, that we're not going to hold people accountable. When Trump said, Epstein, people are really still talking about this creep. Yes, we're still talking about this creep. It's a big story, and it matters, and we want to know who he was working with, who he was involved with. I think that did hurt him. Now, I didn't give him a D. I don't think that he's failing. I think he's just passing in public perception. Some other areas in his PR, I think he's doing fine. But the Epstein files hurt him a lot. I know there's some other critiques that some people would have, how Trump has had, members of, former members of Al-Qaeda, in the White House he's met with, and some things like that they're not fans of. So I think there's some things that Trump has done that's kind of hurt him in his public perception. I give him a C- there. Abortion. Abortion has not been a big issue in the first year of Trump's presidency, even though the Democrats tried to really, drum up some controversy there, and it was discussed and debated on in the presidential and vice presidential debates. Here's my grade. I'm giving him an A. Even though Trump has said some things in times past where, he's like, like with Florida's voting, and I don't know, 6 weeks, a 6-week ban, that's pretty early. Here's the point. For all of you high, mighty, holy rollers who are abolitionist, and I agree with you. All of you high holy rollers on Trump when it comes to abortion, whether you like it or not, the man got Roe v. Wade overturned. Him and old Mitch McConnell, they appointed Amy Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh, and those were the deciding votes to get Roe v. Wade overturned. And so, with that, I give him an A. He's done more to help the pro-life cause by sending it back to the states than any other president. So that is some carryover from the first term that he had, but nonetheless, you've got to mention it. You've got to give him credit where credit's due. He gets an A. All right. Moving on, decreasing size of the federal government. That's a D-. All right, Trump gets a D- on decreasing size of federal government. You know me, when we had Jake Merrick on, candidate for governor here in Oklahoma, a major issue that he and I both agreed upon was we've got to get the rights back in the states, state sovereignty. We've got to decrease the size of the federal government. There's been nothing done by Trump to decrease the size of the federal government. Spending, a lot of executive orders. That was one of my early critiques of him in this first year back in office was, hey, too many executive orders. Quit governing with a pen. We need to pass laws. His sending of the National Guard to D.C. I thought was fine because D.C. is not a sovereign state. It's a federal city. And then he sent, National Guard troops to Chicago. Some of that, the claim was, hey, we're trying to carry out deportations in Chicago and these gangs are in the way, so we got to protect our ICE agents. Technically, probably under the executive authority, he's not wrong. But it's a big federal government that we have. Trump has done nothing to relinquish power and put rights back in the states. I haven't seen it, but here's the thing: neither did Joe Biden, neither did Obama, George Bush. I mean, Reagan wasn't a big states' rights guy either. From my knowledge, once again, he allowed the machine gun ban to be passed. And so he gets a D- there. Sorry for those who were hoping to see a little bit of a better grade. Protecting American identity, and I do think this matters in today's day and age because we don't even know what America is, right? Who are we now? The Democrats say, well, we're a nation of immigrants, and we're not a Christian nation, and we don't have, any common unity other than, we believe in freedom. And for Democrats, freedom means, three guys and a billy goat can get married and you can mutilate a child's body parts and you can pretty much have any religious, act carried out in public you want unless it's Christianity, because then that's evil and oppressive and white people are bad. So anyways, protecting American identity, saying, hey, it's okay to be American. It's good to be Christian. It's good to it's good to have patriotism and believe in America's superior culture. Not woke, right? You could just call it not woke. I'm giving it a B+. I think Trump does a good job on that. There's probably some areas where Trump could be better. Trump could improve. He could be better in some of those areas. But overall, I give him a B+. You could probably give him an A- there. Excuse me. You could probably give him an A- there. Very possibly. But I'm going to give him a B+, just because there's probably some out there who are naysayers, critics who would probably try to argue, hey, here's the thing he did that's not anti-woke, and actually Trump's kind of being woke in some ways. So B+ to satisfy no one. So what does that lead us to? A-, B, C, D-, A, D, C-, A, D-, B+. So the overall grade for President Donald Trump in his first year in office is C+. C+ was the average. Now, once again, that is a grade that will please no one. My Trump critics in the room are not going to like that because it's way too high. He does not deserve a C+. They may even argue he doesn't deserve a C-. He deserves a D or worse, right? They would be very much against Trump, which I'm hearing you. I didn't give the man an A. I didn't even give him a B, right? He's got a C+. And that's just how it averaged out. I wasn't trying to shoot for a C+. I started out with grading the individual attributes, and then I averaged those out. I mean, you can actually see how I calculated it. I gave a numeric values. So I just said, okay, hey, A- is a 92 and 82, 77. So I averaged those things out and came out with an average of 78, which is a C+. Those who are big time MAGA fans, here you go. This is what I've been looking at. I was typing fast, so I didn't get my space there. But here is there's my page, okay? Overall, C+. So for my big time, MAGA fans, you're probably going to think C+ is not generous enough. It's too low. Toby gives him an overall B grade. And to a degree, it kind of depends on what you're measuring. If I would have had some different attributes in there, that might have changed the scale, right? It might have changed how I would have graded him. He may have came out with a B. He could have came out a little bit lower, depending on if I'd have thrown in some other category. So C+ is where we're at. He has the ability to both go higher if the economy improves, or if time proves for the economy to be strong. The economy, if we're looking back at this, could easily be bumped up to a C+ or a B- or something like that. I mean, goodness, he could even get it up, to a high B. Maybe not an A-, but who knows? And that would have changed the math a lot. Other matters as well that he could have potentially have done better on. He might be able to improve public perception, be able to get those numbers up. Depending on what happens with Pam Bondi, he needs to fire her. I don't know why he has her. I don't know. Gun rights could go up, but things could go down too. He may allow some gun laws to be passed that are not pro-gun but more anti-gun, and that could drop to an F. The economy could get worse. The issue of abortion, I mean, I don't think he's going to undo the work he's done. But anyways, there's a number of factors that can play out that will determine where he lands. Jerry gives him a C. Jerry, I'm not sure if are you normally with us? Have you changed your handle? because I know a Jerry that's with us some, but if you're not. And then we got Nancy Lovelace with us. She says, "LL, keep your conversation heavenly." I guess you're talking to me. Nancy, I don't know entirely what you meant by that. I don't know if you mean, hey, I don't need to talk politics. I just need to talk about theology. I would be willing to say I think that pastors, Bible teachers, anybody who does ministry, and they are not willing to talk about politics and be willing to present their position, their political position, I think it shows a weakness of theology. They don't have good doctrine, because this mentality, and I really am done with it. That's a big change for me for this year. I'm kind of done dealing with anybody who, same Jerry. Hey, Jerry. Anybody who says, listen, I'm just worried about the gospel. Let's keep the politics out of it. We don't want to, get into that. That's just ugly and mudslinging and things like that. You don't understand. We are not citizens of the kingdom. We are going to make of this life what we do, right? I know it's a funny way to word it, but this world is going to be what we make of it. And I want good Christian values, good biblical principles that set the precedent for how we govern. Because I don't believe that God is picking who is in the White House. Trump is not in office because God divinely chose him. Biden wasn't in the White House because God divinely chose him. We are to do the best we can as members of the body of Christ during this time on earth. Christ is not reigning on the throne right now, carrying out his perfect will. And so I think that those who say, I just want to preach Jesus, speak love, and stay out of politics, no, your theology is wrong. You misunderstand the age that we are in. We have to take responsibility. We have to take the initiative. So I don't know if that's what you meant, Nancy. If I misunderstood you entirely, please forgive me. Maybe you just meant keep your conversation heavenly because I was being a little bit mean. That's possible as well, but sometimes you got to be a little bit mean. So once again, Jerry gives him a C, Toby gives a B, depending on how he counts that. What is your grade? I would love to see some more of you submit your final grades for Trump. Okay. Now, for those who are pro-Trump, big-time MAGA supporters, which I'm pro-Trump. I want to do good. All right. I voted for him. I'll vote for him again in 2028. That's a joke. That's a joke, YouTube. Democrats, goodness gracious, don't panic. There's just somebody. This show's going to get cut today. But I supported him. I gave him a C+, and if you're upset about it, if you think that he deserved higher, okay, if you think he deserved higher, I will remind you, and I have it in my notes here, right? Biden, who was a total fail, right? The Biden presidency was a disaster. Okay, he was an F. Even I could probably put an F minus, but an F's an F. You failed. If your kid, let's say that he made an F in math last year. If he made an F in math last year, and then he buckled down and got a C+ in math the next year, you would be ecstatic. You'd be elated. And so I'm happy with it, okay? I am not somebody who is doom and gloom, woe unto us because, Trump got a grade of a C+, all right? We were in such bad shape. Now, let's just continue to improve. We've got to get better. We've got to shrink the federal government. We've got to quit spending so much money. We've got to do a lot of things. We've got to get gun rights restored back to people. So I'm not being a Debbie Downer. I'm just putting it into perspective and I'm being realistic. And so I think that is the, Tim says Trump needs to hold people accountable. He's not done that yet, or he's not done that. I think there's a number of situations that you could say that. I think that is true. So, that could factor in. Joe was a top 5 of the worst ever, at least top 10. Yeah, I'm not a... I'm not an expert on presidents. I don't know who did more damage in my lifetime. Was it Biden or was it Obama? Biden was more radical of a president than Obama, by far. The policies he promoted, whether it was transgenderism, the Green New Deal, I mean, things like that. I mean, Biden was just horrible as far as his radicalism, or whoever was pulling the strings behind that, corpse. Is that what you meant by keeping my conversation heavenly, Nancy? But Obama ruined race relations. Obama set race relations back, I don't know, decades and decades, because he utilized it to get elected a second time, because he wasn't going to get reelected after the first term because of just how he handled things, whether it was, foreign policy, whether it was the economy, whatever. Obama was not heading to a re-election. The numbers, when you just look at the data, there's nothing about that first term that you would say, oh, this is a second-term president. So instead, he just leaned into racism. And he stoked the flames. Ferguson, Missouri, literally stoking flames. So I think Obama did more damage as far as, just ruining the relations in America. But as far as, radicalism, open border policy, Biden was horrible. There's other presidents that were terrible as well. FDR, I know that some of our, Southern yellow dog Democrats think of FDR as, the second coming. FDR was terrible in a lot of ways. I mean, he was a socialist. There's been some really bad presidents. One of my hottest takes, and some who would be really mad at me for saying this, Abraham Lincoln is not as great of a president as he's remembered and revered as, because under Abraham Lincoln, state sovereignty was destroyed. It was. I mean, that's the unpopular truth. I mean, the country, Woodrow Wilson was also bad. The country post-Civil War is not the same country. I mean, honestly, we're about to celebrate America's 250th year, anniversary of our founding. We're not the same country that was founded in 1776. The massive federal government, the union that exists now, is not what we were prior to the Civil War. And a lot of that was Abraham Lincoln and the Republican mindset of big government and taking away state sovereignty. And so it's an unpopular take, I know, but it just is. I think it's a reality. We just got to be honest about the truth there. Nothing to do with slavery. It's not about pro-slavery. It's not about any of that. It's about state sovereignty, right? Do states have the right to secede if they wish? Do they have the right to govern themselves, or are they under the thumb of the federal government? Tim says, I do support Trump, and I think he's been basically good for the country as an outsider, but he's going to lose his base if he doesn't go after the voter and monetary fraud. Yeah, there's, the Republicans, the story of the Republicans is squandering opportunity. There hasn't been massive voter reform, money fraud, and everything else. It is frustrating. So little is accomplished on the federal level. So little that we actually care about. We can sign checks to a lot of people, sending them to other countries, but we cannot do things that really matter, it seems like. It's infuriating. Federal government's too big. It's overblown. Tim also has so true that we're not the same country. Yeah, and that's just something that's not being taught in schools today. Robert, back up here earlier, says many of the young liberals have promised to tear down the border wall once they get back in power. To me, that's a powerful argument for voting Republican. Yeah, and that is the issue. So those who say, well, Trump should just build it anyways, yeah, maybe he should. I would be for it. But if you don't do it through a law and you just do it by executive order, it can be undone, in 4 years. Tim, thank you for the kind words. He says, Happy New Year, Mark. Happy New Year to you, Tim. Thanks for your show in 2025. I really appreciate it because I know the second half of the year was really challenging just because sometimes we were going live in the morning, sometimes it was at night. I would miss days. Once again, for anybody who watches or follows our ministry and you were ever worried like, hey, is he going to stop this? Is this coming to an end here? Is it just kind of a short-term thing? It's none of that, I assure you. I plan on doing this for as long as I'm alive. It's just the fact that I'm a 30-year-old man and I have children. I've got 4 children, and right now, for a couple years, you got to endure for a couple years. My life is going to be a little bit, I guess, unbalanced. I'm going to have to take care of some matters concerning my family, and I'm not going to consistently be able to do the live daily show like I want to. But that doesn't mean I'm not preaching. I still go live twice, sometimes 3 times on Sunday. I still go live on Wednesday teaching. I go live when I can here. We're preparing a Bible conference. There's a lot of things we're doing for the ministry. It's just that right now I've got to do what I've got to do. And then once I get my kids a little bit older, and there's a few things my wife's routine, her schedule is about to get here in about 9 more months. About 9 more months, her schedule will get a lot better as well. As far as consistency, we'll be more flexible. And so just you wait, just hold on. It's going to get better. And so I really appreciate all of y'all who have stuck with me, supported my ministry. We've added a lot of things. We've added a new camera this year. We added another ATEM this year. So can't really see it, but one of these things that I use for live streaming. We've got a new microphone, lots of things. There will be more videos made. I'm going to do more Defending the Faith videos. Because of your support, I'm able to go to like the Bible conference that Dr. White puts on. I'm going to be able to put on a Bible conference in the spring. And so I just hope that you find it of value. Continue to give me feedback. What do you want, right? If you're going to be taking your time to watch my studies, if you're going to watch this show, if you're going to support my ministry especially, you deserve the right to give me your input, okay? I want to do what you find to be beneficial, you find to be valuable. And I hope you also know that I really try hard not to let the amount that you give or whether you give or not determine what I do for you. Somebody who is a regular monthly supporter, I try not to give you, special treatment necessarily over somebody who doesn't get to support monthly, because I realize that it depends on what your situation is, right? Some people are in a place where you can afford to be a monthly supporter. And once again, this is what I do. This is my job, right? My church, they're a small church. They do what they can to help, but this is the main thing that I'm doing during a weekly basis, what have you, preparing and all that. I don't have to do as many studies as I do for my church, really. There's other ways I could manage this. I did not have to take on a Sunday school series. I could have had somebody else teach. I did not have to take on a Wednesday night either. Those are all things that I did by my own prerogative, because I want to provide these things, for my church, but also for you as well. But I try not to just only cater to those who are able to support me, even if you're someone who just follows the ministry. Once again, your prayers mean a lot. And if you can't afford to, support me regularly, send a letter to my church and let them know how much you appreciate our work and our ministry. That goes a long ways. They always think it's so neat, those sweet little old ladies, when we get a letter from somebody from another state just saying that they watch our sermons and they sure do appreciate us. It means a lot. At the same time, if you are someone who supports the ministry, I do feel a little bit obligated to really do everything I can to listen to your feedback and make the proper adjustments. And I think that that's partly fair because you have skin in the game. So it doesn't mean I'm ignoring those who don't give or support the ministry. I don't try to ignore you. But at the same time, those of you who do support the ministry, I really try. If there's something I can do for you. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out our audio issue that we had this year. It ruined some of our sermons and studies, and it made me furious. But I eventually figured it out. A lot of it was just a bad microphone. And I had the intensity behind it to resolve the issue because of those of you that support us. Because you deserve it. Let's see here. David says Trump's biggest problem is Republicans in Congress. Nothing will happen unless there is another big, beautiful bill. Everything he tries to do is blocked in court. Yeah, Republicans in Congress are a problem to a large degree. I complain about them all the time. Once again, their failure to strike down the NFA was unforgivable. Unforgivable in my opinion. The big beautiful bill, though, I'm a small government guy, David, and so I would not be a fan of another big beautiful bill because it's just so much money being spent. We've got to stop spending ourselves into trillions of dollars of debt. But I get what you're saying, though. And your comment wasn't necessarily in support of a big, beautiful bill. Your point was, hey, the only way he gets to do anything hardly is passing a bill, which is, how it should be to some degree, because there needs to be some limit on the executive. But I wish, what happened to small bills? A bill with only a few issues. Why does every bill have to have 1,000 different, things attached to it? And yeah, for all those that say Trump is a king, Trump is a tyrant, David adds he has respected the legal process, which he has done. He has respected the legal process. For all those who want to claim that he's just running like a dictator. So yeah, David's been a fun addition to our ministry this year. David is he's dispensationalist, King James guy, not a right divider, and you know what? We've had a fun time. We've had discussion. He's challenged me. I've tried to challenge him. You all in the comments have not run him off, partly because David's got some thick skin and he's a man of conviction. You're not going to get rid of him that easy. I just think that shows what a great benefit it is where we can have some people who engage with us who are not of the same vein, of the same mind when it comes to all matters of doctrine, and yet we can still, have these discussions, and it's good. It's good for us. All right, well, everybody, I'm pretty much out of comments here. Talking about grading Trump on the year. I would grade myself, but I wouldn't want to look at the report card. I do think, as I reflect back on the year, some of my favorite things that we've done has been the Bible conference we did last year. I really enjoyed understanding our dispensation. I really challenged my church on a lot of that, and they seem to respond well. We the guide to the Greek scriptures kind of got a little bit long and I don't know about convoluted, but just long and not the best organized, and yet all the same it's available and you can watch it. There's some things you'll get out of it, I hope. But I'm ready. I'm glad to be back hitting my stride with Deceived, Has Christianity Become a Cult? That I feel like I'm in my wheelhouse there, at least to some degree, and so I think that's good. Hosea's been a good study, and we've got a lot of fun things that are going to be happening in the next year. I had, I guess, church manipulation. That was the video I did this year, and it's 180,000 views. So I've had back-to-back years now of at least one video getting over 100,000 views. It's just tough. What do the algorithms want? And so a lot of you guys find me through those kinds of videos. I think David probably found me through the church manipulation video. So I need to make some more. I need to try to figure out, hey, what's the right combination there to have a video get the clicks, because it's, we get a few people, right? We'll pick up a Rick, we'll pick up an Alan. I saw Alan, tune in yesterday. I don't know if he's with us today, but we get one here, we get one there, and they come along with us. Even those who aren't completely convinced of right division, nonetheless, they are, they're willing to listen and follow along and engage. They just like it that we're a ministry who does Bible study. And so it's been a good year. It's been a good year. I'm excited about next year. And so I appreciate you all. John Tom 918, Happy New Year. Appreciate what you're doing. Well, thank you. Thank you, John Tom. John, do I know you? Because I'm seeing a lot of new handles. I don't know if they've changed the handle names or what's the deal. Because Jerry's handle changed. And then I don't know if I recognize John Tom either. So John, if I know who you are, I'm sorry. But your handle just looks different to me, so it throws me off. David says, I appreciate that you are open-minded. Well, thank you, David. Now, I try to be. Every so often, about every year probably, there is at least one major area of theology that I really try to question myself on. Am I right about this? And I continue to be assured that concerning the mystery and right division, that foundational principle is right, is faithful. Now, I'm going to continue to question it all along the way. I will. But I do try to question. And the next thing that I'm going to question probably this next year is my position on the received text and the King James Version. It doesn't mean that I'm going to come away and reject, hey, the King James is a bad translation, but I've got to challenge myself, right? So I've been saying, hey, I hold to the King James being the best English translation. I hold the received text as being the faithful, preserved word. Why do I do that? Right? Why do I do that? And I've got to investigate it. And so that's going to be one of the studies I do this next year, a real in-depth study on the King James and the received text. So that's the next one I'm going to push myself on, really challenge myself. John says he's new here. Great to have you, John. Where are you from? You don't have to give us your address and social security number, but we're always interested to know where you guys are from. If you're nearby, come see us. We've had a number of people who have commented on our show, and they happen to be somewhat in the area. Or maybe they're not even in the area, like Rick in North Carolina, and yet he comes all the way out to see us anyways. So great to have you, John. Very encouraging that we're still reaching new people. People are discovering us along the way. How did you discover me, John? Be curious, just to kind of close out the show, the last show of the year, on somewhat of a fun note, getting to talk to somebody new. And so how did you find us, John? Was it one of my more, I guess, popular videos that's got, over 100,000 views? Is it my Deceived? Has Christianity become a cult? Sunday school study? Did you hear about me from somebody, Dr. White, or the guys out of Florida, Fellowship, Grace Life Fellowship? People kind of from all over seem to be able to find me. So it's always fun to hear those stories. Let's see here. Let's see who else joined us today. Of course, Robert was with us, is still with us. Ken's with us. Great to have you, Ken. Myra, really appreciate you and encouraged by you. We've got Vix Tarity. Vix Tarity, are you... I'm trying to remember what... I can't remember your handle, who I'm talking to there, but great to have you, though, all the same. I do appreciate you. Once again, Nancy Lovelace, great to have you with us. Mary Terry. Mary, I hope you can make it one day to come see us. I mean, we're bordering states. And then we got Toby, my fellow Okie. And then my mom, great to have you on with us today, Mom. Appreciate you and your support. Tim, really enjoyed, Tim, you engaging in the discussion there with us. And then, of course, once again, we've got David with us. Tim, or Robert, I like this comment that Robert had, said, if I thought God put Biden in the White House, I'd have to wonder why he was so mad at us. That's a good point, yeah. If Biden was a divine appointment by the Lord, we did something wrong, right? We did something very, very wrong. I am trying to hold out just a minute to let John comment here if he's still watching so we can get to know him a little bit more. Once again, though, while I'm waiting on that, markbazeministries.org is the website that we launched this year, and you can watch live on the website. If you click on this, here you go, press play. This is the show. And you can click on it and you can watch, and it goes live. I don't know why it's being a little bit slow there, but a little glitchy probably, just because of internet matters. But yeah, you can watch the show live right there on the website. If you click all videos, you'll see all the different studies that we have going on at any given particular time. And let's see here. I need to talk to Nathan. I still can't see the Sunday school series that we have going right now. But I thought I saw it the other day under recent videos. But yeah, here's the website. If you click on About, you can read a little bit more about us. And a picture of me back when I was bulked up a little bit more. I was a little bit heavier then, trying to lift all the weights that I could. And then, yeah, if you accidentally click the donate button, you get a couple options there. Mailing address if you want to send a check, or Venmo or PayPal, a number of options there. So the new website that we had built. Let's see here. David's excited about 2026. Thank you, David. John says, Great Lake area. My wife and I plan to attend the seminar this spring. The algorithm introduced you. John, that is fantastic. Oh, I'm excited. My email, John, if you want to reach out to me, is markdbaze@gmail.com. So I'm putting that right there in the comments, markdbaze@gmail.com. Feel free to send me your email. If you send me your phone number, I'll call you and I'll talk to you. I was having a conversation with a gentleman just a few weeks ago. He lives in Missouri, I believe, and so that's great, John. It'd be just really fun to have you come join us for the conference. Glad the algorithm introduced you to us. If you have any questions, please email me there, markdbaze@gmail.com. I will get back to you. And so that's really encouraging, John. Thanks for commenting. It's always nice to know that there's some people finding us. Hopefully you have just some enthusiasm for Bible study. That is the main purpose of our ministry. Yes, I talk about politics sometimes, but the primary thing that we do here is we defend the faith, the family, and the fellowship through sound doctrine. And so with that, everyone, I am going to cut you loose. This is for the last time of the year 2025. This is Shields and Arrows. If you want to reach out to me, once again, I've got my email right down there in the comments, markdbaze@gmail.com. And I'm excited about next year. We're not going anywhere. We're just going to continue to grow, I hope, and improve. I believe in that we're going to continue to improve in our teaching, and everyone who has supported us, who have made it possible for us to have the equipment, whether it's the computer, the camera, me just having the financial ability to hire someone to help with my kids when I need them. You are amazing. I appreciate it. I'm going to sign back in on Friday to go live. Until then, have a happy new year. We will see you in 2026. Thank you very much.